Yes, Apollo 11, it's Apollo 100, or Apollo 11 was another mission, but that was Apollo 100 with joy as we get back into the best of the Gary Russen program year in review on GJRB Online on Spreaker. Thanks a lot for tuning in for the program. We've got some interesting stuff to play for you yet. Our bottom half of the show, and another 45 minutes of non-stop talk as we continue through the tracks and bringing back some memories of the past year. We're on the best of the Gary Russen program, and we bring you some of the great memories of the past year here on GJRB Online. So thanks a lot for tuning in, and we're going to continue with this program as we do our Freestyle Friday edition, and we bring you some of the best memories of past shows here on GJRB Online. So let's continue on with the show, and stay with me. We got a lot coming up here on GJRB Online, and bring you some of the great memories, and we're going to go totally non-stop. And I knocked out my automation. It's closed, and we're just going to keep on going freestyle now, fully manual, and just bring you the best of the Gary Russen program here in review. Here on GJRB Online, here on Spreaker, got a lot of really good stuff. And like I said before, next week I'll let you know, because I got distracted by the dog last segment. I'll let you know when we're going to do that. It's going to be a spontaneous show, possibly on the 10th, but right now I have to play through some couple more shows from last month in December, getting closer to the Christmas ones. Basically, the Gary Russen program extra. I'm going to listen through that one. I think I got a few really interesting segments on that one. And then I'm going to I'm going to go through the show from Friday, December 29th, which is about a couple weeks ago. Last week. Was it last Friday, the 29th? Yeah, it was. This day is the 5th. So yeah, last Friday's Gary Russen program. I gotta go through those yet and see if there's any clips on there. And then I'll be ready for the year-end review. I've got a lot of really good stuff. As a matter of fact, I think I got my notes to that one, and I'll tell you what we got coming up in the sequel of this program. So stay with me as we continue the best of the Gary Russen program year in review. So we're going to head now into the next segment. So we're going to be rolling into that one, and into that. Like I said before, this is these first clips of the Best of the Gary Russen program are from the Best of the Gary Russen program from July 1st, 2017 podcast. So we're now running into the final part of that podcast, and we're going to play you that one. And that final part of that podcast has some interesting segments on it. So I'm going to kind of go through those and pull those up. From the okay, I want to pull that up again. From that last segment. Let's see. I'm gonna go up the page here. Because since I don't have a scroller on this mouse, it's a hard time to pull up what I'm looking for. So what I usually have to end up doing is to copy paste again to get back on that page. So I gotta do that real quick. Okay. Alright. Okay, that's not the one I want. Okay, let me see here. Okay. I'm going to go into this now. Okay, here we are. In this final segment of our July 7th show. I'm going to be having the one on the Super Bowl commercials, and we're going to talk about that one. And we're going to kind of conclude with Aaron Moran's death. As you remember straight, Aaron Moran died this year. And by the way, speaking of which, I'm going to be doing that on my sequel show. We're going to go through and I'm going to do a commemoration of all the people, all the big stars who died this year. A lot of them. So we're going to play those coming up. But let's go back to July 7th, 2017 podcast of the Best of the Gary Russen program for more year-end review.
I mean, I don't like to be sunk in by this. And not only that, the Super Bowl commercials. I've seen a few of them. As a matter of fact, I got one here.
So mix on the speaker play, speaker mixer here, so sorry I missed some of that.
There's one. 84 Lumber commercial, and it's on here. I'm going to play it. Oh, come on. I don't want that. No. There it is. A controversial ad during the Super Bowl. It tells the story of a mother and daughter from Mexico on a journey to the U.S. Complete the journey. This only aired in portions of the ad. 84 Lumber posted it. The mother and the daughter reached the U.S. border, only to find the Trump's proposed border wall. Okay. Now, I guess they were talking about this on the radio the other day. Anyway, ending the message, inclusion of the... I'll just go back here. I'm going to kind of wind back on this ad just a little bit, because it keeps on changing when I'm trying to read. Okay, let's see. Go back here. Let me see here. Okay, ending with the message of inclusion. Construction workers create a door in the border wall. And it ends with that. Now, this is 84 Lumber. Okay, now, let's see here. A couple of people wrote, these are postings on Twitter over this ad. One posting from Thomas Payne says, still waiting for the Mexican Lumber Company commercial about U.S. citizens struggling to pay their bills and bill of illegals, too. Good point. I like that. From another guy named Ed Valens. 84 Lumber News. Thank you for your great commercial and empathy for the human race. That's the true spirit of what we Americans are. Okay, that was the message on social media which erupted in response to this ad, both positive and negative. And now the building company's website went down due to this. This ad went down, so probably what happened was it crashed due to a lot of postings, probably a lot of people visiting that site over this commercial. Because this whole border wall. So see, what it is that we, not only do we have to put up with this propaganda during the Super Bowl with these commercials. Okay, we have to put up with this now. They're going to put it in commercials. They're the political ad. Now, I was listening, I think it was yesterday, I was going to my cardiac rehab, and I was listening to today's issues on AFR, and they were talking about this very ad, and they were saying that there was no reference to lumber in the commercial. Well, I'm looking at the commercial. I just played it, and they're using lumber to build the so-called door the so-called door in this wall for them to go through. This inclusion commercial. They used probably lumber that was 84 lumber. So I mean, how could that be called disclusion when they did not include it's an 84 lumber commercial. They were going to use their lumber to build a wall, to build that door in the wall, so that the mother and daughter could go through. So basically, it was lumber from 84 Lumber that they put up for that door. Okay, so that was their lumber. Okay, what do you think about that? This kind of insight there. They're lumber to build that door. So your view on that. And we talked about that a little bit that day, not too much more, but that was the border wall, and of course the sanctuary cities came up as part of that conversation. Of course, sanctuary cities debate going on at that time. I believe that one of the mayors of I think one of them was Chicago, and which they said that those were going to remain sanctuary cities no matter what, that they're going to open up the cities and they will be remaining sanctuary cities for people who are there in this country illegally. Those that come over the border can stay in these cities and continue to live in those cities. David Cortese was on there, and this is part of my news and commentary segment, which I played a piece from Tucker Carlson. And here it is. News and comment, of course, is the big news that's been going on. Sanctuary cities. This is Dave Cortese. Dave Cortese was on, this is great. He was on Tucker Carlson. And I think this is somewhat funny in a way, because they really argue this out. This is the first, and they really are like taking this victory seriously. And he was on a recent Tucker Carlson show, and they were talking about this sanctuary cities thing. And David Cortese is the county supervisor. I believe it's Santa Clara, the county board of supervisors. And they had a pretty good argument going on regarding this whole thing with the sanctuary cities, and how they are not too happy with the fact that there are people who are happy about it, because Judge Orrick signed a block on the Trump executive order, and I guess if a city doesn't comply or cooperate with these sanctuary cities, apparently, what could happen is the cities could lose their funding. And Dave Cortese was on a recent edition of Tucker Carlson's program, and this is pretty good. Check this out. This is just...
I'm telling you that this is the first president of the United States threatened with an executive order to withhold, in our case, up to $1.7 billion from us. It's unconstitutional for him to try to wield that kind of power. The federal court agreed with us today.
That's not true.
The Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the United States. It is true.
It's not true. The Obama administration threatened to withhold funds from Indiana for messing with Planned Parenthood funding. The Carter administration threatened to withhold federal funds from people who didn't obey the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. This has been going on a long time, and you're saying that because you don't like a law, you don't have to comply with it, but every other taxpayer in America still has to send you money. So where does this come from? This is a brand new thing. At least acknowledge that.
It doesn't matter what I say. The federal courts today acted. They said what we already knew, and what you should know is that the Constitution of the United States is the law of the land. It's come on. Whatever you're talking about in terms of federal codes or agency rules.
I'm not talking about federal codes or agencies. I'm talking about federal laws. And when you ignore them, does the federal government have a right to punish you? And you're saying no. What you're saying is basically California's its own country now. And if that's the way you want to go, good luck defending your borders, I guess would be my point.
California's leading the country in the right direction.
Yeah, well, I imagine California would like to be their own country, but that country could like fall in the ocean soon, okay?
To be in the lead, we're fortunate to have won this case today.
Yeah, well, okay. He is standing up for it, and David Cortese, and he was on and I think Tucker put out a good argument on that. Ruling that President Donald J. Trump's blocking the executive order to defend sanctuary cities.
And I was reading some of the opinions on some of these. I wrote, we need to get the riffraff out of this country. And they're legally here, and I just don't like them being forced down our throats. I added, we need to build that wall. One person wrote, stop breaking the law and Trump won't withhold federal assistance. There you go. You say that it's unconstitutional to withhold federal funding. You laugh at every corner of the Constitution. Good point. That is from a person, from a guy named Brian, I can't pronounce his last name. We had another person post, and then someone else wrote, California is nothing but a liberal state, capitalized, and they could care less about anyone other than themselves. Another good point. These people are criminals and could be sent back to their countries, and we will find a way to stop one way or the other. I saw a posting during the break that I thought was pretty good. One said, why don't they just use the money left from Chapo? You know, El Chapo, wasn't that the guy who smuggled all them drugs over here? El Chapo. He used his money to fund this wall. Not a bad idea. I mean, you know, I think that's not a bad idea, truthfully. I mean, why not? Just use this money and fund the wall with that. Then you got it.
And of course that got quiet.
Wow.
After a while.
What a concept.
It was, I don't hear too much about that anymore. And then about that same time, we lost Aaron Moran. Jody from Happy Days.
But the obit section is the sad part. This past weekend, we lost someone that was an outstanding actress in her own right. And that was Aaron Moran, who played on Happy Days as young Joni Cunningham, who died this week at 56. She was my age. And I guess her co-star, from what I understand, her co-star was in some controversial remarks from her co-star, Scott Baio, who said that she had died of a drug overdose, and she had died of a heroin overdose. And this was probably before, I don't know if I understand, he said that before, the remarks were made before they found out that she had died of cancer. According to a report in New York, Scott Baio stated in responding to media reports that the suspected death of her co-star, his co-star, Happy Days and Joni Loves Country, Aaron Moran, may have died of substance abuse problems. Authorities of Indiana said on Monday that Moran died from cancer at her home on Saturday at the age of 56. Earlier in the day, Baio said in New York WABC that the death of Moran's death, that if you do drugs or drink, you're going to die. But he added he didn't know that if drugs or alcohol was the cause. In a posting, and I guess this is on, I don't know what posting this is. I think this is probably Instagram, I think. Doesn't say. It looks like it's a posting from somewhere stating this story. And there's a whole line on it. It's too long to read, so I'm not going to really go through the whole rigmarole. But Baio comments drew some backlash from social media, and he declared on a Facebook post that he had heard reports of her death with a heroin overdose. And in that radio interview, when it took place, before authorities had even mentioned that she had died of cancer. So he reneged all that, and I'm sure he kind of back on that. He was kind of brokenhearted over the death of Aaron Moran. Sad story there. And that's from our show from April 26th, which actually was one of our best shows. I'd say that was
one of my best shows since I've done the Gary Russen program in quite some time. I mean, really one of my better programs. I had a great time with that show that day. And the reason for that is our next segment and final segment. And the reason for that is because it runs 20 minutes. And it kind of goes into the last part of our program. So we made this the last part because we saved the best for last. This is from our April 26th show, in which one of our newest listeners and one of our fabulous people who respond quite almost all the time she listens to our program and comes on board, and that is Rachel Ozzie Jarvis from Cokewell, Oregon. Came on our program, and that day was a fabulous day. We had a great time. She contacted us first through Skype, but it didn't sound right, and then disconnected from us, and then came back and joined us on Facebook Messenger, which sounded a lot better, and sounded a lot better. She calls herself Boss Lady Jarvis, but she came on this show with is Rachel. So here it is from our show.
And what I'm doing to get supplies and some responses and some feedback is I feel that I'm doing this show, but I'm not, and I'm kind of listening to the show back. I usually do that to check to see how it sounds, but not only that, see how I'm doing. Usually what I do sometimes is that I feel that maybe I got followers on here, right, on Spreaker, and I try to listen to my followers' programs. I try to catch a lot of the programs from my followers and leave opinions, and maybe perhaps invite them to call here, or try to invite them to leave me messages on here. I mean, I look how many people, I've had 2 people send me messages. We had one on Saturday, and I'm thinking, there's a reason for that. If I can get my followers to listen to this program, the people that follow me on Spreaker, to tune into this broadcast and be able to get some followers. I have 82 of them. 82, and I can at least try and contact at least 2 or 3 of them that listen to the program, or maybe we can get some people to listen to the program. But I feel maybe if I were to do that, maybe if I communicate with some of my other people on here that broadcast, maybe we can connect and have a better talk show. So I think that that's something that I'm going to do from time to time. Not just listen to this show back, which I do, but also to try to see if I can contact other people who may be listening to the show too. Who may be, maybe listening to the show, but maybe people who are, who I have on here but I don't listen to. So we have somebody here, Boss Lady Ivy, listening. Thank you. How you doing, Boss Lady Ivy? Welcome to the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online on Spreaker across America. We're talking a lot about some news. So whatever news you might have, whatever you're talking about. I was talking about Scott Baio, who stated the loss of Aaron Moran was a real sad, tragic loss, and he had stated on a New York radio station that she died of a heroin overdose when she died of cancer. It was found out later, and you want to talk about that. And she says she's doing good, and I'm glad to hear that. Let's see, we can try this. Anyway, I'm going to try. Let's try that. Where are you from? Okay, let's see what we got here. While we're doing that, overcast skies here in Clinton, Iowa. 52 degrees. It started today. It was like 55, I think 56 degrees, like around 12 o'clock.
And then it is now 3:49 p.m. in the Central Time Zone here in Clinton, Iowa. 4 o'clock.
Listen,
And
cool day.
4 o'clock east. And it's cold outside. It dropped.
April 26th, 2022.
Okay. The Ivy says, while I was listening to what you said about getting your followers to call in and participate, and I get the same problem. And she's from Oregon. Okay, Oregon. That's a pretty state. I've given I think I have mentioned your weather a few times. I do a thing called Weather on the Fives at 25 and 55 minutes past the hour. Now, boss lady, what it is I am a graduate. I graduated from a school in Moline, Illinois. Now, if you're not familiar with the Quad Cities, that's where I'm from. Let's see. Okay, let's try this.
Just typing her a message here.
Okay.
Not always the fun part of this.
Okay.
Forgot what I was typing.
Yeah, good. Getting some responses here. I told her from Clinton, Iowa, which is like about... No, I didn't say 14 miles. I said 41 miles. 41 miles. It's just... 41 miles. Dyslexic, 41 miles from Davenport. Okay, she's from the West Coast all her life. West Coast all my life. And I don't know anything of this area. Yeah, it's on the border of Illinois and Iowa, where just where you got well, actually, the Mississippi River borders Illinois and Iowa. So what you have there is you have Davenport and Bettendorf, Iowa, on the west of the Mississippi. And then on the east of the Mississippi, you have Moline and Rock Island on the Illinois side. So that is the Quad Cities. And that is part of Iowa, part of Illinois. So it's in that area. So we're like on the border of the two states. And as a matter of fact, I'm not even from originally here. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is even way across the country from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And
along the Ohio.
So I just grew up in Pittsburgh. Grew up in Pennsylvania. But had married someone in this area. I had lived with my sister who lived in a town called Mokena, which is south suburbs of Chicago. Lived there for about 5 years, and then I moved here years after that, after I got married the first time. And I stayed in Clinton, Iowa, and been here 10 years. Now, I went to a college in Moline where I got an Associate Applied Science degree in broadcasting. I tried to get in radio, almost did a couple of times, but my wife got sick and had diabetes, so I had to take care of her and myself, which I just last year almost was near a heart attack, and I had to let's try to get this out. Had a heart attack. I almost had a heart attack, and my doctor saved me from it, and so now I have a heart condition and really can't work. So I'm just doing this because I've always wanted to do radio all my life. I'm 56 right now. I was the same age as Aaron Moran, who died here recently. Yeah, thank you very much. Aaron Moran, who died and 56, here I am, 56. Still young by some people's standards, but I've been through a lot with this, and sometimes I get my days, but I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I just have to take care of myself. I had to exercise more often. I was at cardiac rehab, and as a result, well, thank you. She shares my passion in radio. I grew up in Pittsburgh, and we had some legendary jocks, and we had a radio station in the days called KQV. They were a top 40 station, and they had showcase windows along Smithville Street, downtown Pittsburgh. And I would go down there and watch the disc jockey all the time. They would be broadcasting from the window, and it was like, I want to do this. And my influences were Pittsburgh radio disc jockeys and KQV and KDKA, which started radio. KDKA was the first radio station, commercially licensed radio station. And, I'm glad to be from a city that had the first licensed radio station. I am. I'm proud to be from a city that was Pittsburgh, KDKA. And I'm glad. Thank you so much for that, boss lady. He says, I'm glad I'm doing better and that we share the passion of radio. That's great. I always wanted to do talk radio. I was thought it'd be kind of fun to take phone calls on the radio like that. It would be great. I mean, I still play music. Now, this is GJRB Online, boss lady. In other words, this is a radio station. GJRB Online. I do this program. I do a program based on Coast to Coast AM, if you're familiar with it, George Norrie. I do a show called Way Out There, in which I talk about aliens, UFOs, time travel, the paranormal, prophecy. I'm into Bible stuff. I'm a Christian. I turned my life to Christ a number of years ago, and I feel that Jesus Christ is the one who died on the cross for us, and he made that sacrifice. And I like to spread the word of the Lord, and I use this also for that. And I play Christian rock. I play. I promote new emerging artists, and I play a lot of really good stuff. And I have various different programs. I just had one Saturday called Radio, Television, and Movie Classics, and that's my nostalgia program. I have a lot of fun with that program. I play I play old commercials, old promos from the days of early television. I have a whole mess of them. I do a retro prime time, and it's fun. I do old time radio. I do a thing called Radioland, and I play old radio plays like The Shadow and Have Gun Will Travel and Gunsmoke. Those are the best old time radio. I love to listen to old time radio. It's fun because you listen to these stories, and I love old-time radio drama, and that's what Radioland is. It's old-time radio drama. I do remember when TV Land used to play old TV shows, and they used to have the old commercials? Well, I do the same thing. And I take the commercials of the old-time radio spots and embed them into my commercial breaks, and I make it sound like you tuned in to old-time radio. You tuned in the past. And it's fabulous. I love doing it. I love it, old-time radio. By the way, what is it? What time is it in Oregon? I think you're in Portland, which I believe is, let me see, it's coming up to 4 o'clock here Central Time. So I think you're headed into 2 o'clock your time. 2 o'clock? Yeah, 2 o'clock. I believe you're going to be at 2 o'clock in the Pacific. And it is 3 o'clock, it's coming to 4 o'clock here, and 5 o'clock Eastern. You're listening to GJRB Online on Spreaker across America and around the world. I'm Gary J. Russen, and you're listening to the Gary Russen program. Okay, yeah, it's 1:58. Yeah, okay, you're good? And coming up in this next half hour, and that is from our April 26th program on GJRB Online is we're bringing you the year-end review, the best of the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online. Actually, that segment where I do with Rachel Ozzie Jarvis actually was the first time we met her when she had contacted me through the chat room, and we were talking about how about the memories of that time, kind of talking about that. So it was kind of fun to reminisce with that piece. So we're going to continue with the best of the Gary Russen program. Coming up in the final segments of this program, we're going to be taking a break because we're running low, about 3 minutes and 42 seconds left in this segment. Coming up in the next segment, I'm going to start picking up on some of the other segments as we head into April. We're still in the month of April as we continue the best of the Gary Russen program. We're going to kind of jump back. That was April 26th that you just heard. So we're going to kind of jump back a couple of weeks to April 11th. On this show, it was the last day of my cardiac rehab. And then we talked about a meteor shower that hit Southern California and press secretary raising eyebrows on a Hitler-Assad comparison. And then we revisit. We're going to jump to a month later, May 12th, and again revisit with Rachel Ozzie Jarvis. And this time, I'll play you the recording in which we talked on Skype for a while. Didn't work right, and then we re-met up with on the Messenger. Play that one in its entirety coming up. Also coming up, we'll talk about Last Man Standing. It was canceled by ABC, and I talk about my monologue. Love this piece. Monologue where I talk about my black and white world and how I believe that it's best to watch nothing but the old shows. So we're going to got that coming up in the final segment. We're trying to get as much as we can fit in the final segment of this program. We won't have all that much time, so where we leave off is where we'll pick up on the sequel of the best of the Gary Russen program. We'll hit June 12th on that program. And on that show, we talked to Dave Baker, from our good friend over in Davenport at KALA, in the chat room, and promoted his Rewind show. And then talked about the sporadic radio schedule, which is going to be no more. That's old. We'll talk about that. And Miguel, our station mascot, keeps getting under our desk. And at that time, we were dealing with him having his... he was having issues with his flea infection at the time. And we'll get into all that. And we probably won't get into it until the sequel, which is coming up on our next edition of the Best of the Gary Russen program year-end review here on GJRB Online. So we'll take a program break, and when we return, I will be back. I got more really good stuff for you. So I hope you'll stay with me for the Best of the Gary Russen program year-end review. Love playing this stuff. Love bringing back memories. Don't you? I really have a good time with this program, bringing back some good times. And going back and remembering stuff, I just like doing that because it's fabulous. Don't believe it. Be right back. Got more of the Best of the Gary Russen program after we take this break. Hang in there.